Right. So we'll talk about product and quotient rules here. I think product rules টা already দেখানো হয়েছে, but I'm going to go over that again now. These two are basically techniques that you may have to apply whenever you're differentiating a function or basically an equation where the products or the fractions are not, easy to simplify. Let's start with the product rule. So an example of a problem where you'd have to apply the product rule could look like this: 2x plus 3 whole to the power of 5 multiplied by 7x minus 1 whole to the power of 3. Now, if I had asked you to differentiate this, you would really have a difficult time to differentiate it if you did not know the product rule, because otherwise you'd have to expand it and then simplify and then basically differentiate them. Now, the product rule helps you go around this problem. So this is the formula for the product rule. So the formula goes like this: if y is a product of u and v, the differentiation is basically u multiplied by dv dx plus v multiplied by du dx. Now, what this essentially means is, so uv হচ্ছে দুইটা এক্সপ্রেশন. সো ফর এক্সাম্পল এটা u আর এটা v, এই দুইটা যেহেতু মাল্টিপ্লাই করা আছে এই জন্য আমরা uv ফরম্যাটটা ফলো করতেছি. So this is the formula. So what does this mean? If your equation is a product of two functions that cannot be combined easily, for example these two, you consider one of them to be u, you consider the other to be v, and then you follow the formula. The formula says you keep u as it is, multiply it with the differentiation of the other one, plus you keep v as it is, multiplied by the differentiation of the first one. So একবার ফার্স্টেরটাকে আনচেঞ্জ রাখবা, অন্যটাকে ডিফারেন্সিয়েট করবা, plus the other way round. So if I were to apply this formula in this example, what would we do? Suppose এইটাকে আমি u ধরলাম আর এটাকে আমি v ধরলাম. So the differentiation would be u ফার্স্টেরটা unchanged multiplied by the differentiation of this. So if you remember from chain rule, the differentiation is going to be the differentiation of the whole thing multiplied by the differentiation of whatever is inside the bracket, right? So 7x minus 1 whole cube এর differentiation হচ্ছে 3 টা সামনে আসছে, 7x minus 1 as it is, power একটা কমছে, multiplied by ব্র্যাকেটের ভিতরের differentiation. So this was my u and this whole thing was my dv dx, this part of the formula, plus the other way around, meaning এইটাকে 7x minus 1 whole to the power of 3 টাকে unchanged রাখবো, and then first টাকে u টাকে differentiate করতে হবে. So 2x plus 3 whole to the power of 5 কে differentiate করবো. So 5 টা সামনে আসবে, 2x plus 3 whole to the power of 4 and then 2 bracketed 7x minus 1 whole cube হচ্ছে part of the question, এটা v, এটা হচ্ছে v, ঠিক আছে? সো একবার u লিখবো, পাশেরটাকে ডিফারেন্সিয়েট করব, একবার v লিখবো, তারপর পাশে অন্যটাকে ডিফারেন্সিয়েট করব. সো লেটস সিম্পলিফাই দিস. সো 7 times 3, that's a 21, and then আর কি কি লিখতে পারি, এগুলো আর এক্সপ্যান্ড করে সিম্পলিফাই করে লাভ নাই. And then for the next part, 5 into 2 can be multiplied, and then 7x minus 1 whole cube, 2x plus 3 whole to the power of 4. Now if you want to further simplify this, you can take common, এখানে দুইটার মধ্যে 7x-1 হোল স্কোয়ার along with
ভাইয়া
জি
একদম মানে প্রথম যে লাইনটা লিখলেন 3 7x-1 হোল স্কয়ার তারপর 7 লিখলেন কেন?
because when we have a bracket like this এই যে যেরকম 7x-1 whole cube, this will follow chain rule, and the chain rule of differentiation says if there's a bracket like this we have to differentiate outside the bracket first multiplied by the differentiation of just inside the bracket. What is the differentiation of 7x-1? 7 plus 0, so just 7 এভাবে আনাফ বুঝছো চেইন রুলের ক্লাসটা অ্যাপ্লাই কর ইয়ে করো নাই চেইন রুলের অ্যাটেন্ড করো নাই
করেছিলাম মানে খেয়াল নেই।
so it's basically simple. You basically differentiate outside the bracket multiplied by inside the bracket. So for example এই যে দেখো এখানে 4 কিভাবে আসছে, এখানে যে 5টা ছিল that came forward. আচ্ছা, can you guys see the tiny little cursor that I'm moving around?
No.
Acha, you can't see the cursor, can you? Like I'm moving it around right now.
না এখন দেখছি।
Acha. All right. So take a look at this. Wait. Take a look at this. এই যে আনাফ দেখো এখানে একটা 5 ছিল, এই 5টা কিভাবে 4 হয়েছে? The 5 came forward and this remained as it was and the power decreased by 1. So that was differentiating the whole thing outside the bracket multiplied by the differentiation of just this part which is 2. So that is chain rule. ঠিক আছে? So just সোজা কথা ব্র্যাকেটের বাইরে ডিফারেন্সিয়েট করবো মাল্টিপ্লাই বাই ব্র্যাকেটের ভিতরে। অলরাইট, নাও কামিং ব্যাক টু দিস, আমার কমন নিতে পারি, কমন নিলে আমাদের এটা আসে 10 multiplied by 7x minus 1, and then you can simplify this. ভিতরে সিম্পলিফাই করে কম্বাইন করে লিখতে পারো 7x minus 1 whole square twice x plus 3 whole to the power of 4 multiplied by এটা এক্সপ্যান্ড করো, এটা এক্সপ্যান্ড করো, তারপরে এগুলো অ্যাড করে দেখো যেটা আসে, দ্যাট উইল বি ইয়োর ফাইনাল অ্যান্সার। সো হোপফুলি ইট মেক্স সেন্স যে তোমরা কিভাবে প্রোডাক্ট রুল অ্যাপ্লাই করতে হবে, ঠিক আছে? বাট মোস্ট অফ দ্য কোয়েশ্চেন্স ask you to input some numerical values. For example, what is the value of dy by dx when x equals to 1? So what you do is you differentiate. For example, a লাইনে তোমরা x এর জায়গায় 1 বসাই দিতে পারো সব জায়গায়, and then put it in your calculator and you'll get a value. ঠিক আছে? So that shouldn't be too much of a hassle when it comes to simplifying and everything. Just differentiate করে x এর ভ্যালুটা বসাই দিলেই হবে কোয়েশ্চেনে। যদি বলে যে what is the value of dy by dx when x equals to 1, dy by dx তো এখানেই করে ফেলছো, এখানে এখানে অথবা পরের লাইনে সিম্পলিফাই করার আগেই তুমি x এর জায়গায় সব জায়গায় 1 বসাই দিয়ে যে ভ্যালুটা পাবা ওটাই তোমার অ্যান্সার। Any questions about the product rule?
No.
All right, so now let's move on to the quotient rule. Now the quotient rule is for fractions that you can't simplify. For example, y is equals to 2x plus 1 divided by 3x minus 5, ঠিক আছে? এটা whole square দিয়ে দিলাম। Now these two can't be simplified. So what if I had asked you to differentiate this? So this is quotient rule. So you follow a new formula and the formula follows this format, u divided by v. So উপরেরটা u নিচেরটা v. What does the formula say? The formula says that in order to differentiate a fraction, it's always v du dx minus u multiplied by dv dx divided by v square. Now, before you freak out, I'm just going to walk you through the entire formula. It's actually easy to remember. দেখো কোশেন্ট রুলে সবসময় একটা v স্কোয়ার থাকে, এটা সবসময় মনে রাখতে হবে যে at the end of the formula there is this v square in the denominator. নিউমারেটরটাকে আমরা সবসময় ইউ ধরি, ডিনোমিনেটরটাকে ভি ধরতে হবে। Now v is always the denominator. Now if you compare the quotient, the product rule and the quotient rule, product rule it really doesn't matter which one you put first and which one you put second. For example, you can put this first or second and vice versa. ঠিক আছে, তুমি আগে ইউ কে আনডিফারেন্সিয়েটেড রাখতে পারো, পাশে ভি কে ডিফারেন্সিয়েট করতে পারো, ওর আগে ভি কে আনডিফারেন্সিয়েটেড রাখতে পারো, পাশেরটাকে ডিফারেন্সিয়েট করতে পারো। ইউ ক্যান ইন্টারচেঞ্জ দ্য পজিশনস এন্ড দ্য রিজন ইজ দেয়ার ইজ দ্য প্লাস। It really doesn't matter 2 plus 3 and 3 plus 2 gives you the same value. So এখানে কোনো সমস্যা নাই, এখানে তোমার ফর্মুলা মনে রাখতে you really don't have a hard time remembering the formula, because the product rule basically goes differentiate one, leave the other one undifferentiated, plus the other way around. That's how you think about the product rule. But the quotient rule is very specific because there's a subtraction sign. It's always the denominator v that is undifferentiated first and then differentiated second. So সবসময় you need to start off the formula by keeping the denominator undifferentiated. If you mess it up, যে আগে u লেখলা dv dx minus the other way around, তখন একটা problem হইতেছে, because the negative, it's 3 minus 2, 2 minus 3 is not the same thing. So make sure you follow the formula of the quotient rule as it is, যে differentiate u first and v second, and মাঝখানে একটা minus. So just make sure you memorize the formula, or at least remember the formula of the quotient rule very carefully. Again, the pointers are v square at the bottom, and you always start off with v undifferentiated. তারপরে I think you'll find the flow. ঠিক আছে? So in this question, let's apply the formula. um, u is 2x plus 1 and v is this. So when I'm asked to differentiate this question, I remembered that there is a v square at the bottom. So this is v, and then this is going to have a square, right? V itself had a square, but according to the formula, I had to put a square. So here's this extra square, done with the bottom part of the formula. Now for the top part says I have to start off with the denominator undifferentiated. There you go. Multiplied by, obviously, the numerator's differentiation, which is 2, minus the other way around. Other way around কি? u টাকে এখন undifferentiated রাখবো, and obviously this minus means the whole thing, multiplied by the differentiation of the denominator. There you go, differentiation of the denominator. So according to the chain rule, the differentiation of the denominator is 2 টা সামনে আসবে, 3x minus 5 as it is, power of the denominator decreases by 1, and then multiplied by the differentiation inside the bracket. So here is my v, here is my du dx, here's the minus sign, and here is u as part of the formula, and the whole thing is dv dx. So when I simplify this, what do I get? 2 3x minus 5 whole square minus, again bracketer কাজটাকে করে নেই, 2x plus 1 whole to the power of 6, 3x minus 5 divided by 3x minus 5 whole to the power of 4. Now you can simplify this more, you can expand these guys and then see where it goes. ঠিক আছে? And then ultimately open the bracket, or you could keep it this way. So that is basically the end of the differentiation. But for mostly what I want you to take away from this is how to utilize the formula. Okay? Now if I had asked this, what is the gradient of the curve, what is the gradient of this curve at x equals to 2, what I essentially mean is, to remember from your early chapters of differentiation, that gradient of a curve is essentially the value of dy by dx. the gradient of the curve is essentially the value of dy by dx. Um,
Question.
so when I ask you to find the gradient at x equals to 2, what you have to do is just do the differentiation, and in any step after the differentiation just plug in x equals to 2. ঠিক আছে? So এখানে x এর জায়গায় 2 বসায় দাও, so that's a 6. এখানে x এর জায়গায় 2 বসায় দাও, so that's a 4. এখানে আবার 6 বসায় দাও, এখানে আবার 3 into 2 is a 6, and then put it all in your calculator and you should get a gradient value. So that is what this I mean, these two exercise in your book, exercise 13b and 13c, are all about. So guys, make sure you guys are absolutely comfortable with the exercise with exercise 12, meaning the chapter 12, and exercise 13a, and as we've learned, b and c. ঠিক আছে? So আজকে what you're going to do is you're going to start practicing, and you're going to do this right now. এই question গুলো এখন করে ফেলো from your book. Exercise 13b, 4, 6, and 8. These are word problems. And exercise 13c, just first দুইটা হচ্ছে practice আর বাকিগুলো হচ্ছে word problems. এগুলো শুরু করে ফেলো.